The galactic research vessel Harmony floated in the dark space around planet Kepler-4 for to see. The ship was huge, bigger than 3 city blocks put together. Its metal hull gleamed under the light of the distant star. Inside the ship, different alien species worked together on their mission to study new worlds. Captain Zethkry stood on the bridge looking at the planet below. He was tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. When he moved, light danced across his blue surface. His people, the Vorthans, were known for being careful and smart. They never rushed into danger. The planet scans are complete. "Captain," said Dr. Korbash. He was from a water world, with 8 long arms that moved like snakes. His skin was green and wet, and he had to wear a special suit to breathe in the ship's air. "The readings are not good." Zethkry turned to look at the data on the main screen. Numbers and charts filled the display. Each one showed bad news. The planet had life, but it was deadly life. Creatures that could kill with one swipe of their claws. Beasts that hunted in packs and never missed their prey. Class 5 threats detected in multiple zones, Korvash continued. His voice shook a little. "These creatures are as dangerous as anything we have seen before. Maybe more dangerous." Security Chief Mrixtal clicked his mandibles together. He looked like a giant bug, covered in black armor that grew from his own body. His species were warriors feared across the galaxy for their fighting skills. But even he seemed worried about the planet below. "My people have fought many battles," Mrixtal said. "We have faced the worst predators in the galaxy. These readings make my blood run cold. These are not just animals. They are killing machines." Bridge fell quiet. Every alien on the crew knew what Class 5 meant. It meant death. It meant creatures so dangerous that most species would not even think about landing on the same planet. It meant turning around and flying away as fast as possible. Then Dr. Luna Rodriguez walked onto the bridge. Luna was the only human on the ship. She was average height for her species, with dark hair pulled back in a simple style. Her brown eyes looked at everything with curiosity. She wore the same blue uniform as everyone else, but somehow she looked different. She looked relaxed. The other crew members watched her carefully. Humans were new to the galactic community. Most aliens did not know what to think about them. Some said humans were the bravest species in the universe. Others said they were completely insane, and he thought both things were true. "Good morning, everyone," Luna said. She walked over to look at the planet data. "What do we have here?" Zethkry's crystal body dimmed slightly. This was a sign that he was worried. "Dr. Rodriguez, the planet is extremely dangerous. The creatures down there are unlike anything we have encountered. Perhaps we should move to a safer world for our research." Luna studied the data screens. She saw the same numbers that terrified the aliens. Creatures that weighed as much as small vehicles. Claws that could cut through metal. Teeth designed for tearing flesh. Speed that made them almost impossible to escape. "Interesting," she said. "These readings show a complex ecosystem. The predators seem to be highly intelligent. This could be a remarkable opportunity for study." Dr. Korvash's arms twisted together in distress. "Dr. Rodriguez, you do not understand. These are not study subjects. These are death machines. They will kill us all before we can even set up our equipment." Luna looked at him with genuine confusion. "But that is exactly why we need to study them. We know so little about apex predators with this level of intelligence. The data we could collect would be invaluable." Mrixtal stepped forward. His armor made grinding sounds as he moved. "Human, I have led warriors into battle against creatures that would make your people run in terror. I am telling you that this planet is too dangerous. We should leave now." "Why?" Luna asked. "The scans show. They are territorial, but that does not mean they are automatically hostile. Many intelligent species use aggressive displays to communicate. We should at least try to understand them before we assume they want to kill us." The bridge crew exchanged looks. This was typical human behavior, where every other species saw certain death. Humans saw a puzzle to solve. Where others saw monsters, humans saw interesting animals to study. Captain Zethkry made a decision. "We will establish a base camp on the planet's surface, but we will take every precaution. Full security, protocols, emergency evacuation procedures ready at all times." Luna smiled. That sounds perfect. When do we leave? You are not going, Rixdell said firmly.
Correct.
This mission is too dangerous for a researcher. Only security personnel should set foot on that planet. With respect, Chief Merkstel, I am the xenobiologist on this mission, Luna replied. If we are going to study these creatures, you need someone who understands animal behavior. I am that person. Zethkri considered this. Humans were unpredictable, but they were also surprisingly effective at surviving in dangerous situations. No one knew how they did it. They just seemed to find ways to stay alive when everyone else died. Very well, the captain said, but you will follow all security protocols, no exceptions. Luna nodded. Of course. I am as interested in staying alive as anyone else. The crew began preparing for the landing mission. They checked weapons, tested communication equipment, and reviewed emergency procedures. Everyone moved with the careful precision of people who knew they might not come back alive. Everyone except Luna. She hummed quietly to herself as she packed her research equipment. She seemed genuinely excited about meeting creatures that could tear her apart without effort. The aliens watched her and wondered if humans were brave or simply too stupid to understand real danger. The truth was something none of them expected to discover. The shuttle broke through the planet's atmosphere with a low rumble. Inside, the landing team sat strapped to their seats, watching the jungle world grow larger through the windows. Captain Zethkri gripped his armrests so tight that small cracks appeared in his crystal fingers. Dr. Korvash had wrapped all 8 arms around himself and was making soft clicking sounds of distress. Security. Chief Merkstel checked his weapons for the 10th time. His plasma rifle was fully charged, and backup power cells lined his belt. 2 more security officers sat behind him, their own weapons ready. Everyone was prepared for war except Luna. She pressed her face to the window, watching the green canopy rush past below. The trees were massive, some reaching heights that would dwarf the tallest buildings on Earth. Between the branches, she could see movement. Dark shapes that were too big to be anything harmless. Landing zone ahead, announced the pilot. Setting down and clearing 7 Alpha. Sensor sweeps show no immediate threats in the area. The shuttle touched down with a soft thud. Through the windows, they could see a circular clearing surrounded by jungle on all sides. The trees formed a wall of green that seemed to press in from every direction. Somewhere in that jungle, the deadliest predators on the planet were waiting. Equipment check, Rixdell ordered. Everyone confirm your emergency beacon is active. If something goes wrong, hit the panic button, and the shuttle will extract us immediately. Luna patted the small device on her belt. All set. How long do we have to set up camp? We will work as fast as possible, Captain Zethkri said. Every minute we spend on this planet increases our danger. The shuttle door opened with a hiss. The sound of the jungle rushed in immediately. It was loud, much louder than any of them expected. Birds called from the treetops. Insects buzzed and clicked. Somewhere in the distance, something roared. Mr. X, single quotes tall, stepped out first, weapon raised. He scanned the tree line for movement. His enhanced vision could detect threats that other species would miss. Everything looked clear, but he knew that meant nothing. The most dangerous predators were the ones you could not see. The team moved quickly to unload their equipment. Portable shelters, research computers, defensive barriers, and communication gear. They worked like a military unit, each person knowing exactly what to do. Luna helped where she could, but mostly she watched the jungle around them. Perimeter is secure, reported one of the security officers. Energy barriers are online and functional. The barriers created a blue dome of force around their camp. Nothing could get through without triggering alarms and automatic defenses. It was the best protection their technology could provide. But everyone knew it might not be enough. Dr. Korvash set up his scanning equipment with shaking arms. I am detecting multiple large life forms within 2 kilometers of our position. They are moving in our direction. Luna walked over to look at his readings. The screen showed dozens of red dots scattered through the jungle. Each dot represented a creature big enough to register on their sensors, and they were all heading toward the camp. How fast are they moving? Approximately 15 kilometers per hour through dense vegetation, Corvash replied. They will reach our position within the hour. Captain Zethkri's crystal body began to pulse with nervous light. Perhaps they are simply curious about our arrival. Mrixtel made a sound that was the equivalent of bitter laughter in his species. Predators are not curious. They are hungry. These creatures detected our landing, and now they are coming to investigate their next meal. Luna studied the sensor data more carefully. Look at the movement patterns. They are not rushing straight toward us. They are taking time to investigate the area around our landing site. That suggests intelligence, not just hunger. Suggests they are smart enough to hunt in coordinated groups, Mrixtel corrected. Smart predators are more dangerous, not less. The sounds from the jungle began to change. The normal bird calls and insect noise started to fade away. It was as if the smaller creatures sensed something dangerous approaching and decided to hide. The team noticed the change immediately. The local wildlife is going silent, observed one of the security officers. That usually means a major predator is moving through the area, Luna nodded. Or multiple predators. The sensor readings suggest they travel in packs. Captain Zethkri activated the emergency communication system. Harmony, this is Landing Team 1. We are detecting multiple large predators approaching our position. Please prepare for immediate evacuation if necessary. The ship's voice crackled through the speakers. Understood, Captain. Evacuation shuttles are standing by. We can extract you in less than 5 minutes if needed. Mrixtel positioned his security. Team around the camp's perimeter. Each warrior found cover behind equipment crates and powered up their weapons. The energy barriers would stop most attacks, but experienced soldiers always prepared for the worst. First visual contact announced the officer watching the eastern approach. Something big is moving through the trees at bearing 090. Everyone turned to look. Through the jungle canopy they could see the branches moving, not swaying in the wind but bending and breaking as something massive pushed through them. Whatever was out there was bigger than their most conservative estimates. Dr. Corvash's tentacles curled into tight spirals. The readings are off the scale. These creatures are larger than our initial scans indicated. Luna stepped closer to the barrier's edge. Can you get a better visual on them?
Dr. Rodriguez?
Please step back from the perimeter, Mrixtel ordered. We do not know their attack range. But Luna stayed where she was, watching the tree line with scientific fascination. The movement was getting closer. Branches snapped with sounds like gunshots. The ground itself seemed to shake with each step the creatures took. Then the jungle sounds stopped completely. The silence was total and frightening. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. The team stood frozen, weapons ready, waiting for whatever was about to emerge from the green wall around them. They are here, whispered Dr. Corvash. The first shadow appeared at the edge of the clearing. The creature that stepped out of the jungle was nothing like what they expected. It was bigger than their worst fears had imagined. Standing on its back legs, it reached nearly 4 meters tall. Its body was covered in black fur that seemed to absorb light. Muscles rippled under its skin with every movement. 6 powerful limbs ended in claws that gleamed like metal. Each claw was as long as Luna's forearm and looked sharp enough to cut through steel. The creature's head was massive, with a long snout filled with rows of jagged teeth. Its eyes were bright yellow and clearly intelligent. Dr. Corvash made a sound like air escaping from a balloon. All 8 of his arms went limp at once. We are all going to die, he whispered. Security Chief Mrixtel raised his weapon, but his hands were shaking. In all his years of combat, he had never seen anything so terrifying. The creature was built for killing. Every part of its body was designed to hunt and destroy. Captain Zethkri's crystal form went completely dark. His species' fear response. His body shut down all unnecessary functions to prepare for what he thought would be his death. Emergency evacuation, he managed to say. Now, the creature tilted its massive head and looked directly at them. It studied the camp with obvious intelligence. Then it opened its mouth and made a sound that shook the ground beneath their feet. The growl was deeper than thunder. It vibrated through the air and into the bones of every team member. The sound was so loud that equipment screens flickered and went dark. The energy barrier sparked and wavered under the sonic assault. Mrixtel fell to his knees. His warrior training meant nothing against this level of primal terror. The security officers behind him dropped their weapons and began backing toward the shuttle. Even their military discipline could not overcome the fear that filled their minds. The ship's computer began automatically preparing for evacuation. Survival protocols activated across all systems. The chances of the landing team surviving were calculated at less than 5%. Emergency signals flooded the communication channels. But Luna Rodriguez stepped forward. While every alien on the team prepared to die, the human walked closer to the energy barrier. She looked up at the massive predator with the same expression. She might use to examine an interesting flower. There was no fear in her eyes, only curiosity. Fascinating, she said out loud. Look at the bone structure, the muscle development. This is clearly an apex predator, but the head tilt suggests curiosity rather than aggression. The creature heard her voice and tilted its head further. It took a step closer to the barrier, but the movement was careful, not rushed, it seemed. More interested in studying her than in attacking. Dr. Rodriguez, get away from there, Mrixtel gasped. That thing will kill you. Luna ignored him. She pointed at the creature's claws. See how the claws are retracted? If it wanted to attack, they would be extended. Look at its posture. The shoulders are relaxed, not hunched for a strike. The predator made another sound, but this time it was softer. It's almost like it was trying to communicate. It lowered its head slightly and looked directly at Luna. The intelligence in its eyes was unmistakable. It is trying to talk to us, Luna said with excitement. This is incredible. We are looking at a highly intelligent species that uses complex vocalizations for communication. Captain Zethkri found his voice. Dr. Rodriguez, that is not communication. That is a threat display. Please move away from the barrier immediately. But Luna was already studying the creature's body language. She noticed how it kept its distance from the energy field, how it moved slowly and deliberately, how it seemed to be waiting for something. I think it wants us to respond, she said. Look at how it keeps looking at us and then making sounds. It is trying to start a conversation. The creature made the soft sound again, then took another careful step forward. It was now only a few meters from the barrier, not close enough to attack if it wanted to. But instead of attacking, it sat down. The action was so unexpected that even Luna blinked in surprise. The massive predator, this killing machine that terrified an entire crew of aliens, had sat down like a patient dog waiting for attention. Well, Luna said with a smile, would you look at that? It is acting like a spoiled murder puppy that just wants some attention. The silence that followed her words was complete. Every alien stared at her in absolute shock. Did the human just call a Class 5 predator a puppy? Did she just dismiss certain death as an attention-seeking behavior? Mrixtel's mandibles clicked rapidly. Did you just call that thing a puppy? A murder puppy, Luna corrected. But yes, look at the behavior. It could have attacked already if it wanted to. Instead, it sat down and is waiting for us to do something. That is classic attention-seeking behavior. The creature seemed to understand that it was being discussed. It made a sound that was almost like a whine, then lay down completely. Its massive head rested on its front paws, and it looked at them with what could only be described as hopeful eyes. Dr. Korvash's tentacles began to uncurl slightly. It does seem less threatening in that position. Less threatening? Captain Zethkri's voice cracked. It is still a 4-meter-tall predator with claws that could cut us in half. Luna knelt down next to the barrier, bringing herself closer to the creature's eye level. But it is not using those claws, is it? It is lying down and making soft sounds. That is not predator behavior. That is social behavior. The creature's tail, which they had not noticed before, began to move slightly. It was not quite wagging, but there was definitely movement that suggested the creature was pleased. By Luna's attention, I think it likes you, observed one of the security officers with amazement. Luna smiled. I think you are right. The question is, what do we do about it? As if in response to her question, More sounds came from the jungle. The creature on the ground lifted its head and made a welcoming sound. Its pack was arriving, and Luna was about to meet the rest of her murder puppies. More creatures emerged from the jungle. 3, then 5, then 8 massive predators stepped into the clearing. Each one was as large and dangerous-looking as the first. They moved with fluid grace, their claws clicking softly against the ground. Their yellow eyes studied the camp with obvious intelligence. The alien crew members could barely stand.
Captain Zethkree?
As crystal body flickered like a dying light, Dr. Corvash had collapsed into a trembling pile of tentacles. Security Chief. Rixtel gripped his weapon so tightly that his knuckles had turned white, but he could not lift it to aim. 9 Class 5 predators, whispered one of the security officers. We are surrounded. Luna counted the creatures as they arranged themselves around the energy barrier. They did not form an attack formation. Instead, they sat down like the first one had done. Soon the entire pack was lying on the ground, watching the camp with patient curiosity. This is remarkable, Luna said. Look at their organization. They're not acting like a hunting pack at all. This is social behavior. They are here to meet us, not eat us. The first creature, the one Luna had called a murder puppy, made a soft, rumbling sound. The others responded with similar noises. It was clearly some form of communication, but it sounded almost friendly. They are talking to each other about us, Luna observed. I think they are trying to figure out what we are. Rixtel finally managed to speak. What we are is their next meal. They are deciding which one of us to eat first. But Luna was studying their body language carefully. No, look at their postures. See how relaxed they are. Their ears are forward, not back. Their tails are moving gently. If they wanted to hunt us, they would be tense and ready to spring. One of the smaller creatures, about 3 meters tall, crawled closer to the barrier, extended what looked like a sensory organ toward the energy field. When it touched the barrier, sparks flew, and the creature pulled back quickly. But instead of becoming angry, it made a sound that Luna could only describe as laughter. Did that thing just laugh? Asked Dr. Corvash in amazement. I think it did, Luna replied. It seems to find our defenses amusing rather than threatening. Creature tried touching the barrier again, this time more carefully. When sparks appeared, it pulled back and made the laughing sound again. Soon other creatures were doing the same thing, taking turns touching the energy field and reacting to the harmless sparks. They are playing, Luna said with wonder. They are actually playing with our barrier. Captain Zethkree found this behavior more terrifying than aggressive hunting would have been. This makes no sense. Predators do not play. They kill or they leave. They do not sit around making social contact. Maybe that is because we have never met predators this intelligent before, Luna suggested. Look at how they interact with each other. They have complex social structures. They communicate with sophisticated vocalizations. They show curiosity about new things. The largest creature, apparently the pack leader, stood up and approached the barrier more seriously. It studied the energy field for a long moment, then looked directly at Luna. When their eyes met, the creature made a sound that was clearly directed at her personally. It is trying to talk to me, Luna said with excitement. It is trying to intimidate you before it eats you, Rixtel corrected. But Luna was already responding. She made a soft sound back at the creature, trying to match its tone and pitch. Predator tilted its massive head, considering her attempt at communication. Then it made another sound, slightly different from the first. Luna tried to copy this new sound as well. Her pronunciation was terrible, but the creature seemed to appreciate the effort. It made what could only be described as an encouraging noise, like a teacher helping a slow student. This is incredible, Dr. Corvash said, his fear beginning to fade into scientific fascination. You are actually communicating with it. The other creatures were watching this exchange with obvious interest. Some of them moved closer, trying to get a better view of the strange alien who was attempting to speak their language. Luna noticed their attention and turned to greet them as well. Hello, everyone, she said in her normal voice, then tried to repeat it using the sounds the creatures had taught her. The pack responded with what sounded like a chorus of approval. Several of them began making their own sounds, as if introducing themselves. Luna tried to respond to each one, creating a bizarre but friendly conversation between human and predator. "Request permission to lower a section of the barrier," Luna said suddenly. The entire alien crew erupted in protests. "Absolutely not," Captain Zethkri declared. "That barrier is the only thing keeping us alive." "But look at their behavior," Luna argued. "They are not showing any signs of aggression. They are curious and social. I think they want to make physical contact to complete their greeting ritual." Rixtel stepped forward, his weapon finally steady in his hands. "Dr. Rodriguez, those things have claws that can cut through battle armor. One swipe, and you will be dead." "But they have not extended their claws once during this entire encounter," Luna pointed out. "Look at them. Really look at them. They are keeping their weapons retracted because they do not see us as threats or prey." The pack leaders seemed to understand the debate happening within the barrier. It extended one massive paw toward the energy field, but stopped just short of touching it. Then it slowly, deliberately retracted its claws completely. The other creatures did the same, showing their empty paws to demonstrate peaceful intentions. "They understand," Luna breathed. "No, we are afraid of their claws, so they are showing us that they will not use them." Captain Zethkri looked at the creatures with new eyes. Their behavior was unlike anything in the xenobiology textbooks. These were not mindless killers. They were intelligent beings attempting to establish peaceful contact with strangers. "Very well," he said reluctantly, "but only a small opening, so we maintain full weapons lock on all targets." Luna smiled as a section of the barrier flickered and disappeared. The pack leader looked at the opening, then at Luna, then slowly extended its paw through the gap. Luna reached out her own hand to meet it. When human skin touched alien fur, everything changed. The moment Luna's hand touched the creature's paw, something amazing happened. The massive predator's entire body relaxed. Its eyes went soft, and it made a deep rumbling sound that vibrated through the ground. The sound was not threatening at all. It was warm and welcoming, like a giant cat purring. The other creatures reacted immediately. They began making happy sounds and moving closer to the barrier opening. Their tails swished back and forth in obvious excitement. Luna realized she had just completed some kind of important greeting ritual. "It worked," she said with wonder. "They were waiting for physical contact to accept us as friends." The pack leader gently touched Luna's hand with the tip of one massive claw, but so carefully that it felt like a feather. Then it withdrew its paw and made a series of complex sounds. Luna could not understand the words, but the meaning was clear. It was saying hello. Dr. Corvash slowly approached the barrier opening, his tentacles quivering with nervous excitement. "The readings are incredible. Their brain activity suggests advanced cognitive function. These creatures are as intelligent as any species in the galactic community." One of the smaller creatures noticed Corvash and crawled closer. It studied his tentacles with obvious curiosity, then made questioning sounds. When Corvash wiggled his arms in response, the creature made the laughing sound again and wiggled its own 6 limbs in imitation. "They learned quickly," observed Captain Zethkri. His crystal body was beginning to brighten again as his fear faded. "And they show remarkable empathy. They seem to understand that we were afraid and are trying to put us at ease." Security Chief Mixtel lowered his weapon completely. As a warrior, he recognized when a battle was over. But this had never been a battle at all. It had been a misunderstanding between two intelligent species who had no way to communicate their peaceful intentions. "I've never seen anything like this," he admitted. "In all my years of combat, I have learned to read the intentions of dangerous creatures. These beings are predators, but they are not our enemies." Luna was now sitting cross-legged next to the barrier opening, as the pack leader had stretched out on the ground beside her, close enough that she could reach through and touch its fur. The massive creature seemed to enjoy the contact, making soft, rumbling sounds whenever Luna petted it. "You really are just a big murder puppy, are not you?" she said affectionately. The creature responded by gently bumping her hand with its nose, clearly recognizing the friendly tone, even if it could not understand the words. The other creatures began approaching the camp more boldly. They investigated the equipment with careful curiosity, sniffing at the computers and communication devices. When Dr. Corvash showed them how the scanners worked, they watched with fascination and tried to operate the controls themselves. They have incredible manual dexterity, Corvash observed. Their claws can retract completely to allow for fine motor control. They could easily operate complex machinery. One of the creatures discovered the emergency food supplies and made excited sounds. Luna opened a package of dried fruit and offered it through the barrier. The creature sniffed it carefully, then took a small bite. Its reaction was immediate and enthusiastic. Soon the entire pack was gathered around, politely waiting for their turn to try the strange alien food. They understand sharing and turn-taking, Luna noted. These are highly social behaviors that require advanced cognitive development. Hours passed as the two species learned about each other. The creatures showed Luna and her team around their territory, pointing out interesting plants and geographical features. They demonstrated their hunting techniques on willing prey animals, but Luna noticed they only took what they needed and left the rest of the ecosystem undisturbed. They are not mindless killers, she explained to her team. They are intelligent predators who understand balance and conservation. They hunt for survival, not for sport. As the day wore on, the creatures began to show signs that they needed to return to their own activities. The pack leader approached Luna one final time and made a series of sounds that clearly meant goodbye. Then it did something unexpected. The massive predator carefully picked up a piece of carved bone from around its neck. The carving was intricate and beautiful, clearly the work of skilled hands. It gently placed the token in Luna's palm and made a soft sound that needed no translation. It was a gift. "Thank you," Luna said, holding the carved bone carefully. "I will treasure this." The pack leader seemed to understand her gratitude. It touched her hand one more time, then stood and walked back toward the jungle. The other creatures followed, but not before each one had made their own goodbye sounds to the team. Within minutes, the clearing was empty except for the research team. The creatures had vanished into the jungle as silently as they had appeared. But everything had changed. "We need to completely revise our classification system," Dr. Corvash said as he reviewed his data. "These beings are not Class 5 threats. They're Class 1 intelligence with advanced social structures." Captain Zethkree was already composing his report. The Galactic Council will want to establish formal diplomatic relations. This could be the beginning of a new alliance. Luna looked at the carved bone in her hand, then at the jungle where her new friends had disappeared. "We should probably warn the diplomats about what they are getting into. These creatures might look terrifying, but they are really just spoiled murder puppies who want to make friends." Security Chief Mrixtel shook his head in amazement. Only a human would look at apex predators and see pets, but somehow it worked. As the team prepared to return to their ship, Luna took one last look at the jungle. She could hear the creatures calling to each other in the distance, their voices carrying news of the strange aliens who had come to visit. She smiled, knowing that this first contact would be remembered as the day two species discovered they could be friends instead of enemies. The shuttle lifted off, carrying the team back to the Harmony. Behind them, the jungle was alive with the sounds of creatures who were no longer mysterious threats, but potential allies in the vast galaxy. Luna kept the carved bone close as they flew toward the stars, already planning her return visit to see her murder puppies again.